I was doing everything I could do, and I wanted to go to Kenya High. That was my dream school, and I need to go to Kenya High. And the exams came, and by 1 point I missed, and I was like, oh God, Pangani girls, here I come. So I was Pangani girls index 0001. That's how I was. That's how I missed it by 1 point. So I'm in Pangani Girls School. Of course, at that time, it was a school in Gara. I mean, tattoos are coming through. I'm thinking, you know what, it's fine. There's a reason why I'm in this school. So I embraced the opportunity. I excelled. I was in every club, from hockey to Christian Union to drama cheerleading to music festivals. I was always there. And then in Form 4, I was made the head girl. And guess what? I excelled. I excelled and I excelled. I didn't sleep. I worked hard. So here I am again, because of the year I was born, I happened to be a year behind everyone else. So I finished when I was about 16 years old, Form 4. And my dream was to go to become a doctor, and I'm thinking, now if I wait to go to get this degree, this degree in Nairobi, I'm waiting for another 2 or 3 years. You know what, let me just explore options. So I go to libraries, I read about schools in the UK, in the US, Australia, by myself. And I'm thinking, America sounds like a good idea. Where do I start? So there's a company that was based in Westlands then. I think they were called the American Population Center. I don't know if they're still there, maybe they are. And I went and I became best of friends with those people there. I would go through all the books about the universities. I did my TOEFL, I did my SAT. They taught me how to think about synonyms and all those things. I just memorized. I made songs in my head to memorize those analogies and all. And I studied very, very hard because I wanted to go to America. And that was my dream, to go to school and become a doctor. So all this time, my parents don't know what's happening. I'm just happening in the library, running around. So I get these applications forms. I've now done my SAT and my TOEFL. I apply myself to various schools all over the US. And then I get acceptances from about 4 schools. I'm like, oh my God, it was that easy. I can't believe this happening to me. So I get my acceptance letters, and I'm thinking, okay, what are the criteria? I have to go apply for a visa at the American Embassy. And I do all this by myself, by the way. No one knows, I'm just doing this pole too. So then I go to the US Embassy, I present my papers, my, what is it called? Your results, your acceptance letters, and I go for the interview, and they tell me, so, you want to go where? I want to go to the University of Maryland. To do what? I want to do pre-med. Okay. What's your degrees, your results? Okay, SAT is not bad. Top percentile. TOEFL, okay, that's good. All right, come back at 3 o'clock for your visa. Just like that. I said, Allah, what? It's that easy. At 3 o'clock, I was right there, got my passport with the visa stamped F1 student, University of Maryland. So now it's to go and have that talk with my dad. Okay, so I go humbly and I tell Dad, remember I wanted to go to America to become a doctor. He's like, yeah, but Daddy, I got into a few schools and I even got a visa. Visa? I'm like, yeah, where? Here. Oh, it's a visa. Okay, right, okay. So, and when is it beginning? In September. And where are we now? We're in August. So sure enough, he was so impressed. He could not believe I went through the whole process by myself, got into schools, did my SATs, got acceptances. And he says, Rosemary, you've worked hard, you deserve this. I will not stand in your way, I will support you. So your first semester, I will pay for your tuition, and let's see you go to America. So I get into the plane, I go to University of Maryland, my first semester in the US. Here, a black girl from Africa now, in this school where she's by herself, she doesn't speak the same language. People can't understand me when they're talking, I can't hear what they're saying, they're talking too fast. Somehow, I get into the first program, and I took, at that time, 18 credits, and I got straight A's. Talk about the curve, I was the curve. Every class I took, I was the curve. Because they're like, Rosemary, please, just move yourself out from this class, because you're spoiling for us. But I worked so hard. And I wanted to become a doctor. And I knew to become a doctor, I had to do what? I had to do internships. I had to study and volunteer my time in various programs outside of campus. So I was doing full-time student, because as an F1, you have to be a full-time student. But I built time over the weekends after class to go and volunteer in pharmacies, volunteer in hospitals, because I knew when I get my 4-year degree, they'll look at what else have I done to accomplish those credentials to become a student of medicine in your next 4 years. So I did my 4-year degree in 3 years. I worked really hard. Every semester I was doing 18 minimum credits, sometimes 21, and I'm getting straight A's all through. And I'm interning, I'm volunteering, I'm mentoring young girls. And when I was there, I learned that a lot of people, unfortunately in the US, feel that girls should be doing classes like English or history or psychology, but not engineering or calculus or biochemistry. So I'd go to middle schools, which is like primary school here, and I'd tutor girls to say, girls, you know what, the sky is the limit. If you want to be a doctor, you can be a doctor, an engineer, you can. So don't worry about pushing towards those physical art classes. You can do chemistry, you can do math. So I tutor them in math, in English, biochemistry, calculus, and they would excel as well. And when they excelled, I felt proud. So my 4th year, which was done in 3 years, I was now preparing for the medical college assessment test. That's the course you do before you become a doctor. And in that time frame, but all this time, after the first semester, things became tight financially at home. So my parents couldn't support me. So I had to go to school full-time, but I also worked full-time. I was able to get a permit to allow me to work at least 20 hours every semester, which to be legal, but I paid my way through school. I would get books from friends who had taken the classes before, so they didn't have to buy books. But they learn how to do that, by the way. Books are very expensive, so learn how to work with your colleagues who've done classes ahead of you to share with them those same books. Eh? I learned to just struggle, and I really struggled, you know. And it's winter there. I've never seen snow in my life, but I'm there with the bus and the metro, you know, the scarf and everything just to be warm, but I was going out to work. So I worked full-time. After my 4th year, or my 3rd year, but in that 4-year program, I was now preparing for the medical college assessment test. I was given a chance of very few people to go to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. I wanted to go to Baltimore. That was my dream school. So I get to Baltimore. Now this is in the 10 weeks program to prepare you for medical school. And I'm there and I'm learning about how difficult it is to be a doctor in this country. And it was tough. I mean, I would see patients coming in with bullet wounds and they'd be told, do you have insurance? No, sorry, can't see you, you know. And it was very hard. I'm like, how can you turn away a person who is ill or with gunshot wounds? And then they were like, oh, by the way, as an F1 student, you have to pay at least 2 years up front for medical school because you're not eligible to get a scholarship or a grant because I was an F1 student. So I'm like, I know money is not at home, but I have to maintain my F1 status. So looking at what it would be like as a doctor, options of no money, I'm thinking, you know what, I'm not going to give up. It may be something else, I'll keep moving on. And so what I did, I applied to business school because I have to maintain my F1 student visa status. By the way, don't forget, it's always important when you're in the US, you have to be in school every semester without fail, or you could be in violation of your status. So don't forget that. And if you work, you have to get a permit ahead of time, which will give you at least 20 hours to work legally. Don't do anything illegal, it'll catch up with you, trust me. So long story short, I'm now applying to business school because I have to maintain my status. So I go into this program in a school called American University. It's in Washington, D.C. And I go in there. I've never done, my whole courses were biochemistry, calculus 1 and 2. You know, I've done all of those pre-med programs. And now I have to go and learn how to do accounting and finance, things I've never done my whole undergrad. I'm like, oh my God. I'm in business school, I'm learning how to do accounting and cost accounting and financial management. I worked hard. And because I knew now I'm in business school and I've been preparing for medical school, I spent my 2 years in business school interning in various companies to give me what? The credentials, the experience. So my first semester in business school, I interned for the World Bank. My next semester, 6 months, I interned for NASDAQ. You know NASDAQ, but NSE for Kenya. Next 6 months, I interned for a company called They sell mortgages. The last 6 months, I interned for a company called, it was a company that was all about the .com. It was then 01.com was the whole idea of internet and e-commerce. And so while I was in business school, thank God, in my business school program, the CIO of a company called General Motors was what they called the head of the executive working group. And their goal was to do what? To try and train business students so when they leave business school, they've got the tools they require to become successful business people in the workplace. At that time, GM was the best company to work for. So here we are 200 MBAs, all looking to get to work for GM. So of course, 200 of us applied for this job at GM. Of the 200, 50 were shortlisted for interviews on campus. Of the 50, 10 were flown to Detroit, Michigan for what? For the face-to-face final round of interview. Of the 10, 3 got offers. Of the 3, 1 was a senior manager, and that was me. Woo! And I was the only girl. The rest were white men. I was from Africa. I had a background in biochemistry and physiology. The rest had things in IT and all, but guess what? I was unique, I was different. So here I am. I drove all the cars for 5 years. And in those 5 years, I worked from department to department. I was going through various programs to build my business acumen. So I worked in finance, I worked in accounting, in marketing, in sales. Again, building business acumen. But along the way, I'm still doing things on the side. I'm volunteering, I'm helping other people to grow themselves, you know. And so it so happened that around 04, 05, around that time frame, they were going through a recession in the Midwest. That's where I was in Michigan at that time. And GM were going through difficult times. But then Nissan were looking to relocate from California to Nashville. And they're looking for anyone who would be willing to work for a Japanese company. And so I got a call from a headhunter saying, Rosemary, we got to receive your CV here. We like your experience at GM. Would you like to come and work for us with Nissan? I'm thinking, wow, GM is going through restructuring. I get this call. Guess what? I'm well prepared. They fly me over for an interview. I leave with an offer letter in my hand. I go, I resign from GM, and I say, see ya, I'm not going to Nissan North America as a program manager. And I'm there and I'm loving it. Now it's all about the Japanese philosophy of building cars, vehicle sales and marketing. And then I came home for Christmas and I'm thinking, wow, Kenya has really developed. Wow, I want to come back, it's about time. I began doing what? Networking. It's so important to network because whom you know might help you get your next job. And sure enough, I was at the right spot at the right time. I met a friend who knew a friend who knew a friend who introduced me to some person who worked for a company here in Kenya called Marshalls. And they're looking for someone to head up their corporate marketing and to become the GM of a brand called Kia. They saw my CV, called me, I was in the US, I'd gone back, called me over the phone interview. I'm being told, Rosemary, when can you start? I'm like, Allah, I'm offering, yeah, we'll even relocate you from the US, we'll pay for your truck container, we'll give you a signing bonus. I'm like, are you kidding me, what? So I come to Kenya, I come back in 07 and I'm like, this is great, 6 months, Marshalls, I'm selling cars in Kenya, and then the company has got issues I didn't know until I came here. Then I get another call because of what? Networking. East African growers are looking for a person to help them form up this new department called innovation. All about new products, new ideas, unique background, come for assessment center at EABL. I'm like, EABL? They do what again? Sell Tusker. Hey. I sell cars. Tusker, okay. I'm going to prepare for this interview. I went online, I researched the company. What do they do? Financial statements, competition, opportunity.